Okay, so this is a topic that keeps coming back up, even though I put it off. It keeps coming back up over and over again. So maybe it's something that I should probably discuss. There is a duality that's that's ending, and the people or the entities that still want to be in control are taking people into a kind of a non-duality, but it's a non-duality on a negative side. So oneness doesn't always mean something that's actually good, positive, right? Um, the oneness could also mean the transhumanism. It can mean turning everybody into machines and having a hive mind, and it's a since it's a machine, everything's programmed the same. It could be a non-duality into like a more negative type of realities, more negative, instead of having a positive and a good and a bad. That stuff. That they're just it looks like they're taking people just to the lower side. They're taking people to a lower side. And it's not having the option to reach into a higher parts of yourself. Okay, then there's no option. So it looks like while you still have time to connect with those higher realms of yourself, those higher parts of yourself, it's best to do that as much as possible. And it's best to spend as much time as possible connecting with those parts of yourself. I did an upload yesterday about 8 to 12 hours a day. It just came to me. That's what that 8 to 12 hours that I was talking about is about. Not the part that did, not what Dame Dash was talking about. I was using him as an example to use that 8 to 12 hours as a topic about this. Uh, 8 to 12 hours basically to put towards yourself, to connect to those higher parts of yourself. There's no more room and for me too. I'm saying this to myself. I have no more room to keep saying I need to pay bills. I need to pay bills. I need to pay bills. That's what's dragging you to the lower realms, because that's keeping people in survival mode right there. That's what keeps you. That's what that was. This whole thing was about, keeping people in survival mode. If you constantly stay in survival mode, you cannot connect to those higher parts of yourself. You cannot connect to those higher parts of yourself. You constantly stay in, because the survival mode is more based on fear. It's more based on fear, and when you're constantly in survival mode, where you're more based on fear, you stay more connected to the lower parts. And those lower parts is the word that starts to dominate. They start to overshadow the higher parts. And they're taking people into a oneness, but they're taking people into a oneness, a non-duality, that's on the lower parts, the lower realms. Okay? It's up to you to control that, you know. It's up to you, but there's no more. They already knew this was coming. There's no more duality. It's like you have to choose a side. There's no more straddling the fence. That duality is like straddling the fence. You're gonna have to choose a side. Either you're gonna go to the lower, or you're gonna go to those higher parts of yourself, and let that dominate you more. Let the higher parts of yourself dominate the most. And it's not about being a good person. It's not about doing good things for people. It's about the part of yourself that you want to connect with the most, and work on constantly connecting with those parts of yourself. Uh, because the good person thing didn't work for me. It's a lot of people that do a lot of dark stuff, and when I say dark, I'm talking about just wicked things to hurt other folks to get what they want. That's what I mean by it. Hold on a second. Yeah, so Yeah, so basically, yeah, that's about it. There is a non-duality that's happening. They knew that duality was ending. They're taking people towards the lower end. That's what they're trying to do, and they're probably succeeding because people are doing what they have to do to whatever they have to do to survive. They're going along to get along to do whatever they have to do to survive. Now I get because people have given so much power away that you have to play ball maybe just a little so you can try to get your power back. But you don't want to just be complacent. Just be complacent. Okay? The idea of stocking up only to just be comfortable for the next few years but not to work on yourself spiritually is still survivor mode, and it's still on the lower end of duality. Okay, that's still going into the oneness of the negative part of duality. If you call yourself wanting to just be comfortable and stocking up just so you can survive for the next few years, and it just giving yourself enough time to replenish more in the material type of world, but not necessarily working on yourself spiritually. I stock up. I would stock up just to make sure that I'm comfortable at the same time. A lot of these people never know where they're going to end up. They never know where they're going to be. So you stock up and get so much of the stuff in your house. And stuff that happens where you can't be in that house anymore. You can't carry that stuff with you either. You can't carry that stuff with you. I've already been in those situations. That's why I'm not into stocking up. I'm into more spiritual because you get all this stuff and stock up. You never know where you might end up in the next month or two. So anyway, that's about it. But yeah, the main thing is this kept coming back to me about this non-duality that's happening. But the people the entities that want to stay in control, they're trying to drag everybody and consciousness all around, just consciousness, period, into the lower end of duality, into the more negative end of duality. And that's more of the fear based, that's more of the hate, anger, envy, jealousy, that type of stuff, competition, competitive. I get mine, you get yours. Non-compassion, don't care about nobody else. You just only think about yourself. That's the negative end, and we're seeing that a lot, right? We're seeing that quite a bit when people just don't have any compassion. People don't have empathy. People, it's survival of the fittest. I get mine, you get yours. It's the Hunger Games. It looks like it looks like people are running out of time to connect with the higher parts of themselves. It's almost too late. It's almost too late. Once they completely trap consciousness like they want to, that's going to be it. It's almost going to be impossible to connect back to those higher parts of yourself. So it looked like this every time I kept forgetting it, I keep remembering, I kept forgetting, I keep remembering, I kept forgetting, I keep remembering. So this is something I'm supposed to be talking about. It looks like the non-duality is already complete, and the part of the non-duality looks like it's more on the negative lower end, because we're seeing a whole lot of lack of empathy. We're seeing a whole lot of greed. We're seeing a whole lot of competition. We're seeing just a whole lot of what you would call narcissism. And I say what you would call narcissism because a lot of people just like to use that word a lot, a whole lot of envy, a whole lot of jealousy. We're seeing a lot of blood sacrifices because somebody wants somebody else spot, because somebody else sees this another person has a promising type of life. Somebody has a promising career. Somebody might be gifted, and you have a lot of people that might be jealous of that, and so they want to kill you because of it. They want your spot. They want to be you, but they can never be you, but they don't care because they are low vibrational, so they can never get it. Okay, you can't tell them. They're too low in consciousness to get what you're saying. And then when we see that more and more, that means that duality is ending, but a lot of us are on that lower end because we're seeing too much of that. That's the non-duality part. Okay, so it's time to pick a side. There's no more straddling the fence. There's no more straddling the fence. You got to pick a side. And once you pick a side, well, you don't have to work too hard on the lower part of yourself, because that's where they're taking everybody to. What you do have to work hard on is the higher parts of yourself, connecting back with that more than with that means whatever you do, get out of work and whatever you're doing to make money, and if it's taking your time, and whatever you do to get your money, or whatever you're doing, like it could be children, whatever, taking care of children, be married, you might be married, might be in a relationship, something that could be taking your time away from yourself. It's time to take a break on those things that could be causing you to take time from nourishing yourself. Okay, and put those 8 to 12 hours a day into nourishing yourself, and whatever's keeping you from putting 8 to 12 hours a day into nourishing yourself, then it needs to be stopped. It needs to be a way for it to be stopped, because there's no more excuses, and that's for me too. There's no more excuses. That's it. They about to do whatever this reset is they doing, but it's going to be in the duality of this oneness of the machines and the lower vibration, of much slower vibration than we were currently in a physical reality. It's going to be much slower. Excuse me. But yeah, that's it. And I will talk later.